The 50-30-20 rule budget is a straightforward approach to budgeting that eliminates the need for comprehensive budgeting categories. Instead, you spend 50% of your after-tax income on necessities, 30% on wants, and 20% on savings or debt repayment. Is this something you'd be interested in? Please continue to watch to learn more about the 50-30-20 rule and to help you determine if it is right for you. Hello, this is Fire and your guide in the field of finance. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe and switch on notifications so you don't miss out on any of our great videos. Budgeting doesn't have to be difficult, and it doesn't have to take up hours of your time. In reality, the simplest budgeting methods are frequently the most effective. Take the 50-30-20 rule, for example. The 50-30-20 rule is a simple monthly budgeting approach that advises you on how much money to put towards savings and living expenses each month. You can securely prevent overpaying and build up your savings over time with a clear, big picture snapshot of your monthly budget, all without meticulously logging every single transaction. If you've ever downloaded a budgeting tool only to ditch it by the third day, the 50-30-20 strategy might be worth a shot. Here's how it works. It's one of the best budgeting strategies we've ever come across. The 50-30-20 rule is a simple budgeting approach that can assist you in successfully, easily, and sustainably managing your money. The general rule is to divide your monthly after-tax income into 3 spending categories: 50% for necessities, 30% for wants, and 20% for savings or debt repayment. You can put your money to work more efficiently if you regularly maintain your expenses balanced throughout these primary spending categories. With only 3 primary areas to follow, you can spare yourself the time and stress of delving into the specifics each time you spend. Why can't I save more? Is a question we get a lot when it comes to budgeting. The 50-30-20 rule is a terrific method to tackle the age-old conundrum and give your spending habits more structure. It can help you achieve your financial objectives, whether you're saving for a rainy day or paying off debt. You might be wondering where this brilliant concept came from. The 50-30-20 rule is based on a book authored by current U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren and her daughter Amelia Warren Tiagi in 2005 called All You're Worth: The Ultimate Lifetime Money Plan. Based on 20 years of research, Warren and Tiagi conclude that you don't need a sophisticated budget to get your finances in order. All you have to do is use the 50-30-20 rule to balance your money between your needs, wants, and savings goals. Let's talk about how to use the 50-30-20 guideline for budgeting your money. The 50-30-20 rule makes budgeting easier by splitting your after-tax income into 3 categories: needs, wants, and savings or debts. It will be easier to stick to your budget and keep your spending under control if you know exactly how much to spend on each category. The following is an example of a budget that follows the 50-30-20 rule. Spend half of your money on necessities. Simply expressed, needs are unavoidable expenses, payments for all of the necessities without which life would be impossible. Your most essential expenses should be covered by 50% of your after-tax income. The following are examples of requirements: monthly rent, electricity and gas bills, transportation, insurances for healthcare, car or pets, minimum loan repayments, basic groceries. If your monthly after-tax income is $2,000, for example, $1,000 should be set aside for your needs. This budget may vary from one person to the next. If your expenses exceed 50% of your take-home income, you may be able to make some adjustments to reduce your spending. It could be as simple as switching to a different energy supplier or finding new ways to save money while food shopping. It could also imply more significant life adjustments, such as searching for a less costly living environment. Spend 30% of your income on desires. After paying for your most basic requirements with 50% of your after-tax income, you can spend 30% of your after-tax income on your wants. Non-essential expenses are described as items on which you choose to spend your money, even though you could live without them if you had to. These may include the following: dining out, clothes shopping, holidays, gym membership, entertainment subscriptions such as Netflix, HBO, or Amazon Prime, groceries other than the essentials. Based on this budgeting rule, if your monthly after-tax income is $2,000, you can spend $600 on your wants. If you find that you're overspending on your wants, consider which ones you may cut back on. As a side note, adhering to the 50-30-20 guideline does not exclude you from having a good time. It simply entails becoming more frugal with your money by identifying areas of your budget where you're overspending unnecessarily. If you're unsure whether something is a necessity or a want, simply ask yourself, could I live without this? If the response is yes, it's most likely a want and not a need. Now, set aside 20% of your income for savings. After allocating 50% of your monthly income to your requirements and 30% to your wants, the remaining 20% can be used to meet your savings goals or pay off any outstanding debts. Although minimal repayments are deemed needed, any more repayments reduce your existing debt and future interest, increasing your savings. Putting aside 20% of your pay every month can help you build a better, longer-term savings plan. This is true regardless of whether your ultimate goal is to build an emergency fund, create a long-term personal financial plan, or save for a down payment on a home. And it's amazing how much money you can save in a short period. If your monthly take-home pay is $2,000 after taxes, you could put $400 toward your savings objectives. You'll have saved about $5,000 in just a year. This discussion is getting more and more exciting. We hope you are enjoying it so far. If you are, please make sure to hit the thumbs up, and please feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. So, how do you put the 50-30-20 rule into practice? You'll need to compute the 50-30-20 ratio depending on your income and categorize your spending to put this basic budgeting rule into effect. Here's how to do it. The first thing you should do is figure out your after-tax income. Calculate your after-tax income as the first step in adopting the 50-30-20 budgeting method. If you work as a freelancer, your after-tax income is calculated by subtracting your monthly earnings from your business expenses and the amount set aside for taxes. This will be easier if you have a stable paycheck as an employee. Examine your pay stub to see how much money arrives in your bank account each month. If your employer deducts contributions like health insurance or pension funds from your paycheck, make sure to add them back in. The next step is to categorize your spending for the previous month. You'll need to look at how and where you spent your money throughout the previous month to get an accurate picture of where your money goes each month. You can get a copy of your last 30 days bank statement. It may categorize all of your transactions for you, such as salary, food, groceries, leisure, entertainment, and so on. Now divide your costs into 3 categories: necessities, desires, and savings. Remember that a need is a cost you can't live without, such as rent. A want is an extra luxury that you could do without, such as eating out. Additional debt repayments, retirement contributions to your pension fund, or money set aside for a rainy day are all examples of savings. Finally, review and adjust your spending to adhere to the 50-30-20 criteria. You may start adjusting your budget to reflect the 50-30-20 guideline now that you know how much of your money goes towards your needs, wants, and savings each month. The simplest method to achieve this is to keep track of how much money you spend on your wants every month. According to the 50-30-20 guideline, a want isn't extravagant. It's a simple courtesy that allows you to enjoy life. Because cutting back on your requirements might be a complex undertaking, it's best to figure out which of your wants you can do without, while keeping within 30% of your take-home pay. The more you cut back on your wants, the more likely you are to meet your 20% savings goal. Is the 50-30-20 guideline an appropriate budget for you? For some people, the 50-30-20 rule might be a good budgeting strategy. However, whether or not the system is appropriate for you is dependent on your unique circumstances. Keeping track of only 3 categories may allow you to concentrate on fine-tuning your finances, rather than becoming mired down in the process of categorizing each expense. Others may find it more difficult to modify their spending habits due to a lack of structure. Finally, you must select whether a less complex or more detailed budgeting strategy will work best for you. The proportion of money allotted to needs, wants, savings, or debt is another potential issue with the 50-30-20 rule budget. 50% may or may not be enough to cover your needs, depending on your income and where you live. People who reside in high cost of living areas, for example, may have to devote a considerable portion of their salary to housing, making it very hard for them to maintain their demands under 50% of their after-tax wages. Finally, some critics of the plan argue that the 50-30-20 rule budget is ineffective for higher income workers since it prioritizes wants above needs, savings, and debt. And that's it for today's video. If you want more videos like this, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications to be alerted of every upload. This is Fire, and we will see you in our next video.